Hi, welcome to Raaonline. Today we are going to see the topic Rectus Sheath. What are the objectives of the CBME which we are going to deal today? They are: describe the formation of rectus sheath, describe the contents of rectus sheath. First, we'll see a clinical case scenario. A 54 years old woman presented with complaints of swelling in the abdomen along the midline just above the umbilicus. It becomes prominent on coughing or straining and doing strenuous work. It reduces spontaneously on lying down on the bed. There is no history of surgeries in the past. So this is the swelling which is present in the anterior abdomen above the umbilicus. This one. What is the probable structure involved? With this question in mind, we enter today's topic of discussion, rectus sheath. How do you define rectus sheath? It is an aponeurotic sheath that encloses the rectus abdominis muscle. If pyramidalis muscle is present, the rectus sheath encloses it also. So, as we understand from the term itself, rectus sheath is the sheath of or covering of the rectus abdominis muscle. So this one, what we see in white color here, because it is an aponeurotic structure. Aponeurotic means it is fibrous. So this white color here is the rectus sheath. This is a dissection image of the rectus sheath. This one. In white color here, we see the rectus sheath. And when the rectus sheath is cut open on the right side, here you can see the rectus abdominis muscle, which is a longitudinal muscle stretching all across or all along the anterior abdominal wall. This muscle is the rectus abdominis, and the sheath which covers it, which is fibrous in nature, is the rectus sheath. And where is it located? It is located on either side of the midline. This here would be the right rectus sheath and here would be the left rectus sheath. Now, why is this structure needed? What are the functions? This is a movement in which the rectus abdominis muscle is put into action. So, when the muscle contracts, what could happen is, suppose in this bow here, this is the rectus abdominis muscle. What happens when the muscle contracts? There is likelihood that the muscle is pushed anteriorly. The muscle belly is pushed anteriorly because of the looseness. So this is called a bowstringing of the rectus abdominis muscle. So when there is a tight fibrous structure here, the bowstringing of the muscle would be prevented and the muscle would stay in its place during contraction. So the function of rectus sheath is to prevent bowstringing of rectus abdominis muscle. Also, this fibrous structure, the rectus sheath, maintains the strength of the anterior abdominal wall. Now, how is this rectus sheath formed? It is derived from the aponeurosis. You can note the spelling here. This is SES because it is plural. It is aponeurosis of flat muscles of the anterior abdominal wall. In singular, it would be SIS, aponeurosis. Plural is SES, of the flat muscles. So, which are the flat muscles of the anterior abdominal wall? Yes, they are 3 in number. The outermost one, which is directed downwards, forwards and medially, is external oblique. This is the outermost one. External oblique abdominis. Then inner to the external oblique is internal oblique abdominis. And further inside, the most deepest of these three is transversus abdominis. So, these are the 3 flat muscles of the anterior abdominal wall. Now, of these 3 muscles, which is the most superficial? It is this one. which is external oblique or obliquus externus. Then comes internal oblique, and the deepest one is transversus abdominis. So we saw external oblique muscle here. This is the anterior view of the anterior abdominal wall, this one. Now what is this view? This is a transverse section, a section across the abdomen in this way, and in such a section where the abdomen would be seen as an oval, this is anterior and this is posterior. So this is the anterior abdominal wall in this section, which is formed of the three flat muscles, which are the outermost one, external oblique, then comes the internal oblique, and the innermost one, transversus abdominis. And you can see that these three muscles form aponeurosis. This part is the fibrous part formed by these muscles. They each of them individually form an aponeurosis. So most superficial would be aponeurosis of external oblique, then comes aponeurosis of internal oblique, and then further deep is the aponeurosis of transversus abdominis. Now these three aponeuroses together form a covering around the rectus abdominis muscle, which is called the rectus sheath. So this covering around the rectus abdominis muscle is the rectus sheath. You can understand the rectus abdominis muscle is vertical, but when you take a section across the abdomen, this is the view in which we can see the rectus abdominis muscle of either side. And you also know that rectus abdominis muscle has an anterior wall and a posterior wall.